Well, what do you know? Happy New Year. Welcome to 2020. This is Bob Baker here, and I'm really excited to come to you live here. So welcome to the video, welcome to the live stream, welcome to the replay, whatever the case may be. And whatever the case may be, I am coming live to you. It's actually noon my time, Central Time in the US. Heck, you maybe if you're in Australia or something, is it yet January 2nd? I'm not sure. But in any case, Happy New Year and Happy New Decade, too. And so on this video, I want to share with you some things that I'm pretty excited about. Here's the plan. Of course, this is live, so this can always change. But I plan on sharing some tips to make this year the best ever. And just one really simple tip that I keep in mind every year. It's something that's helped me accomplish a lot of things, publish many books. It's the thing that's helped me grow this YouTube channel. And so I just want to share with you some of that. Also, after that, if time allows, I'm going to share with you some ideas, some things that I'm thinking about offering in the new year and even relatively soon, and get your feedback on it. I'd love to know what you think. And then I want to interact live with you. That's why I always love doing these live broadcasts on YouTube. Even though I can't see you or hear you necessarily, I can see all of your comments. And in fact, they are piling in right now. And so, in fact, I'm going to encourage you, whether you're watching live or watching the replay, is this: first of all, say hi, leave a comment, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from, because I just love the fact that this is a global audience. And I already see we got Karen from Israel, and hello, Scott and Corolla, I believe. Little Len is here. Jasmine, Alan, Jessica. Also, man, there's people. This is so awesome. So thank you for joining me on this New Year's party here. So yes, feel free. So what I'm going to do, instead of getting too sidetracked by reading the comments throughout the entire thing, I'm going to have periods where I'm going to break and then acknowledge some of the comments and do some shout outs and all that good stuff. Man, there are a lot of people. Just got Queen Recovery, we got Tiffany Cobb, we got Violetta, Renee, watching from the Netherlands. Let me see here. Oh yeah, so we got somebody from Serbia. Is it Quasim from Arkansas? We got Dallas, Las Vegas is in the house, Massachusetts. Where else? We got from New York, from Philly. Another from Dallas, Texas, Ohio. That is so awesome. Jackson, Mississippi, Maine. So yeah, the United States is in great representation here. Then there's Morocco. Man, Dallas. I was there seems to be maybe that's a couple of the same person saying Dallas. Got California, Toronto. All right, Canada's in the house. Minnesota, St. Paul. That's fantastic. So yes, I'm going to do my best to interact with you live. Another thing would like to do. I was threatening and wanting to do it more in 2019, but just didn't. Is I like also using this platform called Zoom. And with Zoom, I can actually hear you and see you. You can activate your camera or your webcam if you choose to, in addition to comments. And so I've done some of that, and I might do like a regular monthly live free call in the new year, if that speaks to you. But I know a lot of you who know me from YouTube are active on this platform, and so man, oh man, I love seeing all these comments. And when I don't acknowledge live, I will go back and read through these later. So let's talk about how to make the best of the new year. This is something that probably would be, well, actually, you can still do this. It's only the first day of the new year and also a new decade. I know there's some debate over when the new decade starts. Is it actually 2020 the start of the new decade, or is it 2021? I like to think of it as when that number switches over to the new digit. I like to think of this as the new decade, and so let's just kind of all be on the same page there. And I think the beginning of a new decade has always been pretty profound for me. In fact, I'm going to reveal my age here, but I was born in 1960. So the beginning of every new decade is a new decade of my life as well. I spent all my 20s were in the 80s, my 30s were in the 90s, and so on. And so it's always been a pretty fundamental I don't know, at least a mental shift, and a lot of profound things happened at the beginning of new decades. I would like to use Zoom. Oh, so I see Jessica there. It wasn't showing this because you put your email in there, but I actually, well, I would. Let's see here. Yeah, when I do the Zoom calls, I will actually post the a link to them, so I wouldn't need your email necessarily. But again, look at Calgary, Alberta, Canada, from Kansas. We got Germany. All right, is in the house as well. Saudi Arabia. That's fabulous. Oh, see, and Jill was born in 1959. So we're about the same age, though. Anyway, it's an opportunity to start fresh. And so when you're in that New Year's frame of mind, you're looking forward, as you should. We're going to be talking about that, looking forward and using this kind of fresh start mentality. And by the way, I just posted a video 2 days ago related to 2020 New Year's, in particular, affirmations. It's the first time that I've done that. And out of the gate, this thing has over 20,000 views in about 48 hours. And it's one of the most viewed videos as far as the first 48 hours goes. And so if you haven't seen that, I encourage you to. I used affirmations in that I've never really used before, and it's resonating with a lot of people. And obviously the timing is right. So check that out. It's one of the most recent video on my channel. So before we look forward, I even posted this in my community tab yesterday. It's good to look back on the year before you just turn your back on the previous year. Here's what I suggest. I think it's good to go back through your year. If you haven't done this already, this would be a great time. And to just go, maybe even go through your calendar, especially if you put appointments and vacations and things on your calendar, and just try to remind yourself of the highlights of your year. And so these are like would be the positive things that you're most proud of, or the things that you most your fondest memories. Because I think once something happens and we move on, particularly when you're talking about a whole year, you sort of forget about all the cool things that you did, the things you accomplished, the great experiences that you had. And so I would highly recommend that you do this. Pull out your calendar, and just especially when you're talking about a year ago, January of 2019, and winter, spring, you probably forgot about some of the things. But it's just good to do a little look back and pat yourself on the back with some of the stuff that you accomplished in milestones and important dates. And so, in fact, I'm gonna, even though I asked this in the comments yesterday, I'm going to just ask you to leave a comment about what was your one highlight from the year that you're most proud of, or it's most memorable, that sticks out to you. All right. So that's like the positive spin, just acknowledging the things that you did do, because we're so focused quite often on the things that we didn't accomplish, and we beat ourselves up about, oh man, I still haven't done this or that. But you have done a lot of things, probably more so than you even realize or you give yourself credit for. So I want to encourage you to do that. And again, post in the comments like one of your highlights. Now, along with the things that you're proud of and the good memories, every year, or for a lot of, and sometimes everyone's experience is different, but I know a lot of friends who have experienced loss in their life. And this could be a loss of a job, the ending of a relationship. This could be someone passing away, a parent, a child, a spouse. There's just been a lot of, there are painful things that happen, and we tend to want to just, that was a horrible thing. I don't even want to think about 2019 or whatever year that was. I just want to look forward. And I understand that, because you don't want to wallow in the pain, although I think there's a place for allowing yourself to feel that. So one good thing to do about the more painful or unpleasant memories of varying degrees is to ask yourself, what lessons did I learn? So if you lost a job, or you didn't succeed at some goal that you set, what are the lessons that you learned? Can you put some sort of a positive spin or get some kind of benefit out of it? And even with the loss of someone, it's a painful memory, a loss of a pet, the loss of, again, a relationship, or someone passing away. What qualities of that person or that thing are you missing the most? And just acknowledge those memories, acknowledge those qualities that you admire, and how can you bring those things back into your life, or how could you do better at something that you feel that you failed at? I don't like that word failure. Maybe I know Tony Robbins suggests that you use the word results. So whenever you go to achieve something, you do get a result. Sometimes that result is not the one you were hoping for, but you can always learn from, and there are lessons within a result. And so the highlights, the things that the fondest memories of the past year, but also the lessons learned from the things that maybe didn't quite work out, or the painful moments. I think this is healthy to do. Not that you can't still experience the pain or the loss, depending on, again, what that thing was, but what kind of positive qualities, what kind of positive memories can you pull out of it to learn from it? I'm with you about when I mentioned, we got somebody from London. We've got, I think Jill already mentioned, it was 1959. Someone is there, the 1964 model. We got a 1975 model. Yes. Missouri in the house. Yes, Barb posted that. I'm in St. Louis. You may or may not know. Thank you for listening daily. Jill just turned 60. It's right around the corner for me. That's next year. Adding a zero on the end of a number starts a whole new ball game. Yeah, cool. I viewed twice, so doing well. Just looking at these here. Roomies from Toronto. Ever since I mentioned what year I was born, everybody's posting their birth year here. Or a lot of people are. Highlight of my year is that I stopped smoking and drinking. That's awesome. So you chose sobriety, you chose your health. That's fantastic. Seeing myself actually manifest things. Anna is from Brazil. Fabulous. All right, cool. So that's something that I recommend that you do. And we get someone from Nigeria tuning in. That's so cool. Took a solo trip to do since ages high. That was your highlight. Yes, another friend of mine did a similar thing. Took like a solo trip through Europe, and it's probably intimidating going by yourself, but you proved that you did it. So congratulations. So, and some of my highlights of the year, and things and lessons I may as well contribute here too. Certainly one of the biggest highlights or positives, it was actually the growth of this YouTube channel. I've mentioned it before, but in case you missed it or you missed any of my expressions of thankfulness, I'm just so blessed and honored and grateful that this what I'm creating here is resonating with so many people. And just as we've looked at the comments here, with people around the world, this is a global audience, and I feel like I've got a whole new group of friends and a global community that we're creating here of people, like-minded people who know that they can be intentional about improving their lives. And if listening to my voice on a regular basis, or however many times you listen to it, is helping you do that, I'm just so pleased. And so definitely the growth of this channel. Also, I posted something in my community tab earlier this week because I don't really stress it because I focus on the affirmations, but in my personal life here in the States, in St. Louis, I do a number of things in the creative realm, and one of those is improv comedy. And I teach a weekly class, and I do monthly shows, and laughter is a big, and lightheartedness and joy is a big, value for me. But I love the art form. I've been an actor for years, a musician, a performer, a speaker. But I love improv, where you get a suggestion from the audience, whoops, and you make stuff up with a group of other people. It's like a form of improvisational theater. And there's a core group of people that come to my weekly classes, and those have really grown. And I have a whole little community of people here in St. Louis that are part of the improv community. That's just been a real source of joy for me. So that's another one of the highlights. Did a little traveling in 2019. I went to Nashville, the Austin area, and then most recently to Phoenix, and have more of those plans for the coming year. Highlights are my daughter's doing well. She has a job and a relationship that she and she got a dog for the first time. She's wanted her own dog, and so I'm really happy for her. She seems to be doing really well. My daughter's 23. Lessons, things that maybe that I can learn from the previous year, which I think a lot of you can relate to, is health. Yeah, I, like a lot of people, stray from what I know I should be doing with physical activity, with nutrition, and the things I put in my mouth. And as we get older, those things become more and more important. And so the lessons I learned are, with you take your eye off the ball or don't take your health and your nutrition and your body seriously, that can affect your energy level and, and all that good stuff, and your ability to function. And so I had nothing serious, but I had some minor health challenges. I had a fall back in August where I slipped on a wet parking lot and landed on my tailbone, and this caused some issues for a while. I seem to be over. So the lesson there is be more mindful when I'm walking, especially on wet pavement, and just be conscious on a daily basis of what I put in my mouth, how I move my body, make sure I don't spend too much time in this chair, and all that good stuff. Spotify. Oh, let me just take a quick look here. Thank you from Los Angeles. There's somebody, FCM says, Bob, plug yourself. Spotify in the car and bedtime is wonderful. So yes, if you don't know, I'm slowly but surely taking the audio portions of my affirmations, and I'm creating digital albums, and I'm submitting them into the digital music realm. And so I have like 8 or 9, maybe 9 albums now. I don't know total of how many tracks, but dozens and dozens of tracks that are on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, pretty much anywhere where digital music and streaming and downloads are available. You will be able to find my stuff. The artist name that I use there, if you go to any of those platforms and search, it's Bob Baker's Inspiration Project is what I use there. So you can find this on other platforms. So thank you, FCM, for mentioning that. Anthony says you were so creative. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Kathy is from Scotland. Decided to live and move on. He was extremely. And Arit, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, had experienced the loss of her husband. I know there's a lot of pain. But grateful for the children. Yeah, she's trying to find the blessings in the memories and the gifts that he shared. It's awesome. One Love is from Germany. Let's see. Keep doing what you do. JJ Curley says, keep doing what you're doing, Bob. It's so much appreciated. Highlights of her 2019 several trips I took with my son. Yeah, that is awesome. Being able to do stuff with your kids, especially as they get older. Oh, Tracy Banks. Didn't know are you in St. Louis, Tracy? Yes, born and raised here. I never lived anywhere else. So cool. So there's the look back now. And again, I apologize if I am overlooking anyone's. Someone is writing spider over and over again. I'm not sure why. So anyway, I really think it's important to look back and acknowledge the highlights and the lessons learned from the not so pleasant things that happened in the previous year. Instead of just ignoring them, acknowledge the pain and lessons learned, and what kind of qualities can you bring forward, what kind of growth opportunities can you find in the loss. And then, of course, the main thing that people do for New Year's is they look forward. They have goals. They want to, it's a blank slate, as I said in that most recent affirmation video. And it's an opportunity to start fresh and to create and write a new chapter in your life. And so if you want to, go ahead and post a simple goal. Keep it simple, but maybe just one thing. Let me know if you have like a primary goal or maybe a word for the year. Go ahead and post that in the comments. And while you're doing that, I'm going to share like one of my best tips on making things happen in your life. And this is something that's allowed me to do. I mean, I've been very blessed to have accomplished a lot of things. I have 15 physical books that I've published over the last 26 or whatever years. I've done a lot of cool events. I've grown this YouTube channel. I've been able to make a living in the arts, I like to say, as a writer, an author, as a YouTuber, as a visual artist. I don't really mention it much, but those are, and it's kind of a messy home office here. Those are actually some of my paintings in the background, and maybe in a future video I will show you more. The things at the bottom are things in progress, but that's Amy Winehouse over there, and that's just some kind of abstract jazz pianist there that I did. But I do some visual art. It's an acrylic painting on canvas. So yeah, go ahead and continue to put your goals for the new year. So I've accomplished a lot of things, and here is something that I think has really helped me to do that. And so you have to take this two-pronged approach to the things that you want to make happen in your life. So one, when it comes to vision, when it comes to looking ahead, what's important to think big when looking forward. Whether that's I'm going to use a couple of examples here. One might be publishing a book. A lot of people do have aspirations to publish a book, also to get healthy. And so I think it's good to visualize and look at the end result. For instance, let's just take the book as an example. You might see yourself holding that book in your hand. You maybe see yourself sitting at a table and people are coming up and you're signing copies of your book. You can visualize people complimenting you on how much your book has touched their lives, or how much they enjoyed the story, or how much they were inspired by it. Maybe even you can, see some people do a vision board where they put the title of their book on a mock-up of the New York Times bestseller list, So yes, think big when you're vision, because I think you need to have a big why. You need to have a powerful vision that's pulling you forward. All right. As opposed to just a wishy-washy, well, I hope someday I'm working on a book, I've been dabbling, that's probably not going to get you there. But if you have a big enough why and you have this vision for the future of what you see as the end result, yes, that can really be very powerful in pulling you forward. And anytime you can have a little bring it into the 3D world, like one of the things related to publishing a book, and you can hopefully apply this to whatever it is. Maybe it's a music album, or it's some kind of other thing that you have an aspiration to do. Create like a mock-up title or a cover for it, even though that's not going to be the final one. I've done that with many of my books, where I'll design a cover before I've even written it, print it out, and paste it like on my wall or near the computer. So it's a visual 3D representation of the thing I'm moving towards, and it's the first tangible step. And it's a visual reminder, as opposed to something that just kind of floats around in your head. And people could do vision boards and yeah, so if you can bring it into the 3D world in some tangible way, but especially if you just have this powerful vision that's pulling you forward. So think big, think visually, and with a lot of detail of that end result and all the benefits that you're going to feel when you accomplish that thing, but also the way you're going to impact the world. All right. So think big when it comes to planning and setting goals. However, to get there, for instance, let me ask you, if you do have aspirations to publish a book and have your own book that you hold in your hands, what has to happen between where you are now and that point where you are sitting there signing copies? Guess what? You have to write it. You have to outline it. You have to sit your butt in a chair, or maybe stand at a stand-up desk, and you have to write it one word at a time, one paragraph, one chapter at a time. And then you have to work with others. Either you're going to be working with a book publisher, or you're going to be going out and hiring or finding an editor, finding a designer, people that can help you get that book into form. Steps, and this is crucial. If you only have the vision, I know so many people have been talking about their vision of getting a book out, or accomplishing some goal, but they're not taking they're not putting their feet on the ground and taking the regular, haven't developed maybe a habit of what it's going to take to move you toward that. And then so they never get closer to the vision, because they're not taking the action steps. So when it comes to the daily action steps, things you put on your daily to-do list or your weekly to-do list, think small. You got that? So the vision, think big. That's the big thing that's pulling you forward. That's the end result. But when it comes to the daily, not grind, like the daily action, there's activity involved in making that thing happen. Think small. You don't have to think about the whole book. You don't have to think about the book release party. All you got to do on a daily basis, or any given moment, and let's break it down to the smallest component. In that moment, work on that sentence, work on that word, work on that paragraph. Set goals of writing 300 or 1,000 words a day on your book. So you have to really break it down. You've probably heard this before. Chunk it down. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But it's really important, because a lot of people get stuck up they get stuck when they they just think of this huge monumental thing that they have, and it seems so big and it's hard to accomplish the whole thing, but you don't have to deal with the whole thing at any given day or any given hour. So think small on a daily basis. Don't put write the book on your to-do list. Say write the beginning of chapter 3, the first opening paragraph of chapter 3. That's doable. You could maybe do that in 5 minutes. All right. So when have a big vision, think big, but as far as the process of making it happen, think small. All right. So I'm going to take a look right here. Does anyone see it? I'm not sure. There's a spider. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Don't let anyone negative projections. Thank you for your encouragement. Jill says, Jill says her goal is to keep expanding my world, to fill it with positive energy and people. More healthy. Yeah, cool. Anton. Thanks for the kind words. Try to silence my ego and live from my heart. Yeah, Renee says, silence my ego and live from my heart. I'm not sure what silence. Yeah, so maybe lessen the what people think. I mean, the ego, it depends on how you identify that. There's the ego as far as like, I think a lot of myself. Then there's the ego, just your sense of self, which is but I think you can, or maybe get on friendlier terms with your ego. Instead of silencing it. The same thing with like negative voices. We always have that inner critic, and people want to silence it. But sometimes when you resist it, it still stays there. Actually, most successful people have not silenced their inner critic or their ego, but they just learn, they still hear it, but they just learn to be on friendlier terms with it, maybe not take it so seriously, and just acknowledge it and then go, oh, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now go sit down. I have important work to do here. So yeah, just beware of silencing or resisting something, because it could actually grow. That could be frustrating for you. Just yeah, you can live with your heart and still hear those voices or whatever. Hey, Bob, the queen of self-care. Happy New Year, says Caleb. Same to you. Nikki's from England. Rhonda says, thank you for all your advice and Happy New Year. You are welcome. Thank you, Bob. I'm going to start. Okay, cool. So anyway, so that's my best advice here. And then let me just share with you how long I'm almost 30 minutes here in this. So I'm going to share with you some stuff that I'm thinking about doing. Get your feedback. I'm going to be posting more about this and getting like by email and in my community tab, kind of asking for your opinion of this. But I'm thinking of different ways that I can serve some of my own goals for 2020. Certainly the health thing is probably one of the biggest ones that I mentioned earlier, my lessons learned from previous years. By the way, if you're tuning in and if you're just tuning in or didn't catch the beginning of this and you haven't chimed in, if you're able to leave a comment, just say hi and let me know where you're watching from. If you missed that earlier, if I have not heard from you yet, and I'll acknowledge as many of these as I can during the live call, and I'll look back through them afterwards. So anyway, so my health is definitely going to be one of those priorities for the new year. But related to the YouTube channel, in addition to continuing to put out at least 2 videos a week, and I'm always thinking of new ways, new topics, new ways of conveying that information, new ways of delivering it with my voice or with music. But I'm also thinking out, in addition to YouTube, I'm gonna play with and experiment and see what kind of response you and others have to some sort of a ongoing, like a subscription model, basically. So there's 2 things that I'm going to look into that I might even just put out there and see how people respond to it. One, you may be familiar with it. There's a website called Patreon, which is like a fan funding site. That is for ongoing micro payments to support different creators. And a lot of YouTubers already have a Patreon account. And so basically the way Patreon works, for instance, if I were to set up a Patreon page for my affirmation and inspirational spoken word stuff, you would go to Patreon, I would link to it, and you'd go there and you'd have the option of donating or contributing a monthly amount, and it could be as low as $1. In fact, I'm thinking of 5 different levels. It would be like $1 or more a month. There'd be like a $5 level, a $10 a month, and then 20 and 50. I think most people would probably do the 5 and a 10, but you don't, I don't want to cut you off if you want to donate a higher amount. But each of those levels will have a fun name, and there'll be different perks. So obviously the higher the dollar amount, the more perks that you'll get. But on Patreon, there'll be perks such as exclusive videos. I might do like a monthly Q&A. You can submit questions, and I'll do a recording where I go through and answer the specific questions of the patrons. I might do like a Zoom call where we can interact live once or twice a month for people at certain levels. I'm also, I think a nice little perk would be like MP3 downloads of of a lot of the affirmations. Of course, wouldn't include ads and all that. That you could download to your device as long as you used it for your personal use, and some other perks along those lines. So if you're listening to this, I don't know, does that resonate with you? Would you be interested in supporting me and my work in that way at and getting some extra perks as a result? If you're benefiting from this, of course, you can continue watching, continue to post on YouTube. And whether you have YouTube Premium or not, you may or may not have to listen to the ads at the beginning. But which is one of the ways that I monetize them and support myself and my family. And so Tracy says yes. And then then YouTube has this new thing. I don't know, you may have seen this. YouTube for certain creators with a certain number of subscribers, they have a subscription or a membership option. I don't know if you've ever been on someone's YouTube channel, and right next to the subscribe button is a join button, and you click that, and built into YouTube, you can donate or contribute a monthly amount and also get perks just specifically on YouTube. So I'm debating whether to do Patreon or the YouTube join, membership option. The benefits of doing it on YouTube is that you're already here, you're familiar with the platform, and then what was I going to say? And so it might be convenient since you're already, experiencing my stuff on YouTube, but there's some limitations to what I can offer. And it's a little more complicated thing in setting it up than Patreon. So I have a lot more freedom on Patreon, but with Patreon, you have to go to a separate website. So someone, okay. Review. All right, just looking at some of the stuff going on here, and so anyway, those are some things I'm considering. So I'll probably have a more formal either video or poll or something in the community tab, or I'll send out an email asking for your feedback, and I'll just create it and offer it maybe in the new year and just see how people respond to it. So that's something that I'm thinking about, and any feedback you want to leave in the comments would be great. So I think that might be it. Yeah, I'm a little over a half hour. I didn't want to go too long. It's New Year's Day, and I don't know if you're recuperating from celebrating last night. So let's say, oh yeah, Lisa says prefer YouTube, not another app. I like the idea of chipping in, but I'd like it to remain open for free if you're. Oh yeah, totally. No, my YouTube channel is not going away. All that will continue. This will just be an addition for people that just want to support me and maybe interact in a more get some extra perks. That'd be another option. So nothing's would change with the YouTube channel as it exists now. So there you go. This is something that I'm considering. How can I and I welcome your ideas. How can I serve more in a bigger way and outside of YouTube, like I'm doing with Spotify? How can I and reach more people and give people different experiences related to this a community aspect to it, where we can interact in a way outside of these live broadcasts. I think you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I would like to see an affirmation of staying in the moment. Yeah, being present, mindfulness. That's awesome. So I really Sonya's from listening from Slovenia. Yay. That's really cool. Thank you. Nice to see you live. It's nice to see your words live too, Jill. I appreciate that. Um, Naisha says Happy New Year. So thank you all. Again, this is an opportunity. I mean, go ahead and use this New Year's blank slate, new opportunity, frame of mind to your advantage. Um, and think about what I said earlier. Have a big vision, clear vision that's pulling you forward. But in your day-to-day activities, think small, those bite-sized chunks that will move you forward. Because you got to bring the mental. I mean, affirmations and thinking positive is so important. So we all know the importance of mindset, which is why you're attracted and you listen to my stuff. But you have to take that mindset and let it inspire the actions that you take in the real world. It's super important. And so I hope that helps you. And so yeah, so take that positivity, take the visions, take the goal setting, and just add those little baby steps. Develop a new habit of regularly working toward the things that are important to you. And how can you benefit the planet and benefit yourself and humanity and all that good stuff? So thanks again for listening and tuning in. Again, I so appreciate you listening to my stuff on a regular basis. It means the world to me. So Happy New Year. And I wish you all the best. And here's some more fun that we're going to have in this year and many years to come. All right. Have a good one. As I always like to say at the end, this is Bob Baker saying so long for now.